Jo Marshall, and I'm now the sales manager for the Travel Tech Show at WTM. The show was launched in 1980 and I came on board in 1987, and it was at that time at Olympia with 3 days trade and 2 days public on the Saturday and the Sunday. Well, when it was first launched there, it was just in the National Hall, and we had a centre stage, and then it grew into the Grand Hall as well. We had 2 stages then with lots of regional dancing and culture presentations, and we used to get the royalty opened it each year for the first few years, which was really, really cool, and got lots of publicity from that. Princess Anne, yeah, so I had to do my curtsy. After we sort of took over the whole of Olympia, we went into Olympia 2. At that time, there was just me and selling the whole event. So obviously we brought more people on board as it grew, and then we moved to Earl's Court, which again we expanded while we were there. When we first went there, we just were in the older part of Earl's Court, and then they opened Earl's Court 2. And in the older part of Earl's Court, they had an Olympic-size swimming pool, so we used to fill that. It used to take about 4 or 5 days to fill it with water, and we used to have a water feature where our centre stage was, and so that we had gondolas one year and all sorts of things. So that was quite a production in itself. So when we moved to Earl's Court, it differed from Olympia because it became more of a business-focused event. We didn't have the consumer days, and it was 4 days trade with the 2. So we then introduced the 2 days for the sort of the top level buyers who were personally invited to come on those days. It was exclusive to them and the press. When we were at Olympia, I was sort of on my own with a lot of support from the exhibition director. But when we moved to Earl's Court, we got on board more of a sales team, so I had to sort of look after all those, and we did a lot more sponsorship opportunities. There was a lot more involved, and so we grew the team, and hence the show grew. We expanded into Earl's Court 2 and eventually sold the whole venue. So again, we were looking for a new venue. We then found XL was the best option for us all, and so we moved here. So when we moved here, we did have our challenges because people loved being at Earl's Court and Olympia because it was in the heart of London, and the infrastructure here was not as it is now. XL has obviously developed into a brilliant international venue. XL have expanded, and we've expanded with it. When we first came here, we still had the centre stage, but it's become much more, so we haven't had that for a while because we concentrated more on the content. We've got a lot more conferences going on and thought leadership programs. We've got ministers programs. We've got the environmental side as well. So we've really evolved the show and brought in lots of different aspects of the industry. I became a mum, and so I sort of took a bit of a back step, and so I've since we've been here, I've been a sort of a sales manager, so let somebody else take over the head of sales role and look after the expanding sales team, which has the last few years really expanded into a global sales team, because we've also got WTM Africa, Latin America and Arabian travel market have all come under the brand of the World Travel Market portfolio. So it's quite a big sales team now. So when I was at the show first in 1987, there were a few tech exhibitors spotted around, and we didn't have a dedicated tech show, but we had, a fair amount of, some GDSs and some software, and even had British Telecom, so we had lots of telecommunication things, and so the tech was still an important part, but it was throughout the event. So as we moved to Earl's Court, we created a tech area as part of sort of the global village, and then when we moved here, we created a bit more of a tech show, but we didn't introduce a branding of that until a few years ago, when we really saw there was an opportunity to expand the technology. So I've been looking after that for about 10 odd years, and it's growing and growing with its own theatre and lots of other networking opportunities around it. Well, the 3 days was welcome. We've changed the format of the event this year, so it's the first time the event has ever been a 3-day event, and it's worked really well. We've had a good turnout each day, and especially in the tech show, which is where I've been spending most of my time. The exhibitors are much more driven into pre-scheduling appointments, especially in the tech show. So they've used the portal and the My Invitation process that we offer them, the tools that we offer them, to make those pre-scheduled appointments, and that's been very successful. When I started in 1987, I had no idea I'd still be here 30 years later, but it's an amazing event, and anybody that comes and works on it you know, it is simply the best. We always used to say that, or we still do say it. And it's great. The industry is really fun. So in '87, no, I didn't really sort of think about how the show would evolve and grow as it has, but it has been amazing. We give the industry the opportunity to get together, and although lots of digital things and virtual shows and things like that have happened, you can't get away from the face-to-face interactive. You know, that's what human beings want to do, and so it's been brilliant to see it grow. And I still love it, and I never thought I would still be here, but I am, and I won't be here for the next 30 years, but hope I'll be here for a few more years.